The first thing you need to know about the Edexcel English Language A-Level course is that it isn't quite like anything you've studied before at GCSE. Some would argue that it actually has more in common with psychology, sociology and the other social sciences than it does with the study of literature. It is, however, a fascinating and important subject that will truly help you understand the world around you, exploring how language is used and why it changes in different contexts and over time, how children first learn to speak and write, and how the very language we use reflects and perhaps even shapes societal norms and power structures. You'll begin the course by becoming familiar with a raft of terminology, learning about ways of analysing a range of real-world texts, from transcripts of interviews with Donald Trump to Barbie advertisements, from regional dialects to the stories children write, from letters and autobiographies to transcripts of American police interviews. There are 3 exams to be taken for English Language A-Level at the end of the Upper Sixth. Paper 1 examines language variation, how it changes by region and social group, how it has changed over time. Paper 2 explores child language acquisition. Paper 3 then gives you the option to study the relationship between language and gender, or language and power, or to examine regional dialects or global Englishes in more detail, or even to look at the language used in journalism. Finally, there is a coursework component worth 20% of your overall grade, which enables you to showcase your creative writing, showing your control over the language.
Language is sort of the study of how English works, and it's looking at the history of language, and it also looks at sort of different areas like language and power, language and gender. And one of the things that I've enjoyed most about English language is studying how it's changed over time and seeing how it's changed from the 1500s up until the present day.
Looking at language change is certainly fascinating. Here's some Old English.
What way gar dana in yar dagum feud kuninga thrimye frunan hutha athalingus ellen fremidon oft shield shaving shadhan athreatum.
Then to Middle English. Here's an excerpt from the Canterbury Tales.
On the top rib, with his shore sorter, the drocht of March hath perced to the rota, and bathed every vine in sweet liquor, of which thereto engendered is the flour.
And then on into Early Modern English, the language of Shakespeare.
To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against, essay troubles, and by opposing, end.
Looking at the roots of English language change, we then study on the A-Level the changes that have taken place between 1550 and the present day, and the current changes that are going on not only in the dialects spoken within the UK, but all around the world.
All I knew was this Trump for the first decade of my life.
And they were big blokes in them days. No, you wouldn't get him.
Can't we get one man lower down, and I told you we lived in one of the old houses. Well, on the other corner where the other end was, there was a man who was down the docks and he was working.
For time I'm racking my brain, I'm saying my mama don't die.
And when me meet him Tara night, the boy give me a shock. Me tell him say him auntie and him cousin them.
Stay in their lane and clean up the mess. I probably treat everyone like a mother treats a child. Get everyone on schedule, make sure
I like doing English language because you get to learn about how the language has changed over time, which can help instill the semantics and what words mean.
Language is like quite different to lit. It's in many ways a bit more technical, but it's really, really interesting because you're kind of like analysing kind of both like sort of modern language and like sort of how that kind of influences and affects us, but also how that language is created. And there's just kind of like such a variety of what you're studying that it just kind of is such a different subject to everything else, but it's such an interesting subject as well.